This I want to share with you. This past week in China, a bus driver was driving his bus on a bridge with guardrails, of course, all the way along over the Yangtze River. It's the largest river in China. And the camera on the bus caught the scene where a woman who became incensed that the driver missed her stop started to hit him on the head with a cell phone. He, to defend himself, and of course he was upset, turned himself towards her as he was driving. A large bus with about 15 passengers on it, fortunately only 15. And he pushed her away, and as he did, he lost control of the bus. And the bus went right through the guardrail and over into the river, and in a matter of moments, all of them died. The woman, the driver, and unfortunately the other victims on the bus. Kas. One of the things that we know is Moitzias Adam min Ha'olam is Kas. And this was indeed a type of road rage that it's a mu'uvas shelo yachol liskon, something that you can't repair it. One of the inyanim which is mentioned about Kas is the fact that a Rebbe once asked that a bolt of cloth be brought to him from Eretz Yisrael to Europe, where he wanted to use the cloth for the beged for his tzitzis. And after a few months, it came. It was in those days, 100 years ago, extremely hard to be able to get it in the first place, and then he gave it over to his trusted tailor to take care of it for him and be able to put the hole in the beged, and then they put the tzitzis on and everything would be fine. Well, the tailor just was shivering as he was getting ready to do this work, because first of all, he was doing something for his Rebbe, and second of all, cloth from Eretz Yisrael. One cannot imagine what the situation was and how he felt. Anyway, he got so nervous that he folded the bolt of cloth over and instead of folding it once like this, he folded it twice like this. And when he finished, he had 2 holes. All right? And then by this time, he went home, he got into bed, and he just couldn't bring himself to bring the beged with 2 holes in it to the Rebbe. Anyway, his wife said, "Listen, this can't go. You have to go. You have to own up to it." And he went to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe took the beged and looked at it, and he said, "This is exactly what I need." One, he said, of course, one hole is for my head. The other hole is for a test. The test, how is he going to respond? Because, one would imagine that the man ruined the beged. But this is what happens to us. And just as they're bringing it up again, just in another format, is as follows. A man went to his Rebbe and said to him, "I have an anger problem." People go now to therapy, people go to psychologists. What do I do with anger? They sometimes go to their rabbis. But what do I do? I'm short fuse at home, in the street, my chavrusa, whoever it is, very short fuse. So the Rebbe said to him, "Listen, wait outside near the window. I have to speak to somebody else first, and I will ask him out to get you when he comes, when your turn comes back again." So second person came in, and the Rebbe is speaking to him quietly, and then the person outside the window hears the following. The Rebbe says to this person who's now leaving, he says, "Listen, I wanted to observe the behavior of a person who's waiting outside. Please go outside and get him upset somehow. Whatever you want to do." So the person said, "Okay." So he went, and the first thing he did was to pour coffee on this man. Oh boy. All right. And then something else too. So, and then he left. And now the Rebbe asked the person to come back in. Well, the person comes in, the Rebbe says, I was watching you, and you didn't do so badly, 2 issues came up, and you didn't lose your control of yourself. He says, Rebbe, you don't understand, it was very, very hard. Very hard. But he said, I heard you tell the man to get me upset, so therefore I was able to restrain myself. So the Rebbe said to him, your problem is not kas. Your problem is emunah. That's it. Because where do you think all these issues come up? The issues come up because HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends them to us. It's like that second hole. And therefore that we have to realize. And it's not just someone else adding to me when I'm discussing this, is that I can hear that here even in the base measures. We can go home and say, tell our families, such and such thing happened to me. What a mivchan. Oh, the mivchanim start at home. We should understand. The mivchan starts with our wives, our children. And if our mother-in-laws or father-in-laws are not, it might be that too. But whatever it may be, that's where the mivchan starts. The test begins there. So we have to be prepared, not just for what happens outside, but what happens inside as well. The Rashi comments, another idea, Hakol Kol Yaakov Yadayim Yadei Esav. So, what's the Kol Kol Yaakov? Yaakov and Esav, most likely, Meforshim say they were twins, they had similar voices. So what's the Kol Kol Yaakov? What is a Kol Yaakov? So Rashi says that Yaakov spoke with politeness. Esav was gruff. Esav was coarse, Yakumavi, let my father get up. Yaakov says, no, listen, no, please, father, get up. He speaks to them that way. He uses Hashem's name when he speaks to his father. Esav didn't do that. So the shaila over here is that, if this be so, that when the call of Yaakov is not one of the way it sounds, but it is the way, the words that are spoken. Why couldn't Yaakov change his approach for that one time? Come in and speak coarsely, just like an Esav does. So the Meforshim say that Yaakov just couldn't do it. He couldn't bring himself to speak in a coarse manner. He knows that, or he knew that words make a difference in a person. If he doesn't even want to speak like an Esav, even for a little bit, we have to be, therefore, of course, the corollary is that we have to be careful of how we speak to how we use our mouths. That's it. It makes it very different. That, like we say, that man is formed by his behaviors, certainly by his speech. And that is for sure. Now, the last thing I want to share with you right now is that Yitzchak and Rivka davened to Hashem. And Chumash tells us, Vayetar Yitzchak el Hashem, and therefore Vayeyaser lo. And Hashem answered Yitzchak. And Rashi says, Ein adayim tefillah shel tzadik ben tzadik, tzadik ben Rasha. And therefore, of course, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu answered Yitzchak, he is a tzaddik, the son of a tzaddik. And Rivka, she is a tzadekis, the daughter of a Rasha. Question. In the place of a person who comes to do mitzvahs from such a background, and she has a brother who is a Rasha, a father who is a Rasha, a community who are Rishon. So what's the shaila? Why does HaKadosh Baruch Hu turn to Yitzchak? She turned to Rivka. Look where she came from. So Rav Sternberg says the following. Remember that Yitzchak was a tzaddik ben tzaddik. He just wasn't a ben tzaddik. Yitzchak really, in his way, was a Baal Shuvah as well. Rivka saw what her father was, her mother, the community. She was disgusted. She was repelled. She doesn't want to live like this. So she changed that derech, whatever the derech was, and she elevated herself. Yitzchak lived in a home of Kedoshim. He saw what his father was. He saw what his mother was. And he said, I see how wonderful, how committed they are to Torah and mitzvahs and everything. I'm going to do it even better. I'm going to raise myself even higher. So in a certain way, he wasn't propelled by disgust. He was propelled by a desire to be a Ben Aliyah, to be special in his avodas Hashem, to do it in a different way. And that's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu listened to the tefillah of this tzaddik, Ben Tzaddik, in this case. A guten Shabbat.